All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. And I told you I made an update to my whole Admiral getup that I wore in the past, and I figured I'd kind of show you guys what it looks like now. It's not too big of a jump from a difference from what it was before, but due to like an update in what my wardrobe actually looks like, I figured I'd show you guys a little bit. Just what it looks like. All right. So, hold on. See if I can get it turned in a way so you guys can fully see. All right, here it is. The big update was just me actually getting like a full vest. Like my sleeves are still rolled up. My sleeves are still rolled up, but I just wearing the vest that I have alongside it now. So yeah, this is the whole Admiral getup I have. I don't have like a full dress coat on, which probably would have made it seem a lot better. But yeah, looks like it's gonna work out well for me today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got 3 chapters to cover. So let me go ahead and get the formalities out of the way, and let me go ahead and put the camera back where it was before. Oh great! Ah crap! Now it's all tilted. It's all tilted now. It's all tilted. Are we good? Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way. And I keep hitting my mic. Sorry. Yo, peoples, QShoe92 here, and it is the last day of May, so you already know that today is One Piece Reflections, where, if you don't know, I go over all the chapters we get within a month for One Piece. And we got 3 chapters this in the month of May, and all of them were pretty significant because it pretty much gave us the end of the fight between Luffy and Kaido. It gave us the end to the threat of Onigashima crashing into the Flower Capital or just dropping out of the sky completely. And it also brought about the complete defeat that was pretty much official now for Kaido and Big Mom as well. Well, we already seen the. Well, yes, it does bring about the complete defeat of Big Mom and Kaido during the whole battle of Onigashima. So let's go ahead and get started with the very first chapter, chapters 1048, 1049, and 1050. So let me just go ahead and pull this up real quick here. Chapter 1048, 20 years. We have like the Germa and Emotionless Excursion with Cracker there with Brule talking about Ichiji and Reiju. And then this is the chapter that pretty much concluded, well, pretty much brought about the moment Luffy unveiled his Gum Gum Bajra gun. And that was after the chapter where Luffy told Momo to move Onigashima completely out of the way because he was about to bring this ginormous fist down on Kaido. And it started with Momonosuke saying, "Move Onigashima out of the way. Wait, Luffy, I can't." And then Momonosuke was thinking of his family. And then he slammed his head. I guess he slammed his head against Onigashima, thinking about when you reach the future, you must rebuild the Gozuki clan, which is words that his mother said. And then it cuts back to Luffy and Kaido, with Kaido saying, "Very well then, I will take your punch. Tell me, Strawhead, did you know that 20 years ago, the hero of this country was burned to death?" And it shows Kaido enveloping himself in fire. And let me come down here. And let me go to Kaido's page so I can go over exactly what this move is called for him with his Devil Fruit ability. Uo no Mi Maru Seiryu. And then go down to techniques. Here we go. So he starts spewing flame out of his mouth. I knew this was going to slip off my shoulder. I knew it was. Get back up there! Making me look bad in public. But Kaido says that 20 years ago, the hero of this country was burned to death. Flame Dragon Torch. Ever since, this has been a lawless place, and now you are the heroes they've been waiting 20 years for. And it shows Kaido can envelop himself in a ginormous amount of fire, which also takes the shape of a dragon. And this is called Kaien Daiko, also known as Flame Dragon Torch. Kaido breathes a large amount of flames from his mouth, forming a giant fire dragon over his original dragon body. The heat of his fire dragon nearly instantly melts everything that it comes into contact with, preventing opponents from touching Kaido, to which Luffy, a user of advanced armament haki, is able to counter this due to not having to make physical contact. So, given what Luffy is able to do right now, he is able to touch Kaido, but we'll touch on that a little bit later. But what this is essentially him giving him his own Susanoo that makes it so that people can't even touch him, if the fight even gets that far. And it just, in this panel here, it is so hot that Luffy, who has never let go of Kaido during this entire fight, during this whole section of the fight when he was about to bring down his Gum Gum Bajra gun on him, though we don't get the name of it officially yet, it causes Luffy to let go of him, and it's extremely hot to him. And Kaido boasts that, that's right, let go of me. I'm not going anywhere, and that giant fist of yours will not come down on me. And it shows Kaido's body touching the other horn of Onigashima as the intense heat of the Flame Dragon Torch is enough to snap off and start to melt down the other intact horn of the Onigashima Skull Dome right now. And he says it will melt into nothing first. And Luffy says, I'm not melting, Gum Gum. And then Kaido says, Rising Dragon. And then it cuts back to when Grandpa Hiyu was training him, saying, what you call haki is known as Ryuo here in Wano. And Luffy says, the old man taught me how to do that without touching. I'll smash you all the way down to the bottom of hell. And then it shows Luffy unveil this new move called Gum Gum Bajra Gun, which is basically a ginormous version of Gum Gum King Kong Gun. But at the same time, Luffy is using advanced armament haki in order to combat it. And let me bring his move up so I can describe to you what it is as well. My apologies, I knew I should have brought this webpage up too. Okay, abilities. And Gear 5. Alright, there it is. So, Luffy uses a move called Gum Gum Bajra Gun, and then Kaido uses a move called Rising Dragon Flame Bagua. Now, with Kaido, the move Rising Dragon Flame Bagua, also known as Shoryu Kaien Hake, is just basically Kaido lunging forward in his Flame Dragon Torch state. It's just him rushing someone covered in this hotter than magma fire. And then Luffy uses Gum Gum Bajra Gun, which is essentially just the Gear 5 version of Gum Gum King Kong Gun, where he inflates his fist almost the size of Onigashima, infusing it with armament and Conqueror's Haki, then unleashes it at his opponent with the intention of punching them without making direct contact through emitting Haki outward for a devastating blow. This was first used against Kaido, who countered the attack with Shoryu Kaien Hake, resulting in a massive clash. And they both clash with one another. And as they clash with one another, they don't even touch, because Luffy is using so much Haki in his fists that he actually doesn't make contact with Kaido at all. And then it just cuts, as soon as that happens, it cuts back to water flowing through the entire flower capital, with Kinemon there, with Kiku and with Usopp there, with Kinemon and Kiku, along with Hamlet as well, because, you know, Onigashima is was on fire, but it got washed away. And then it cuts back to the memories of in the past, during the Hour of Legends, of Odin's death, where all of the Akazaya 9 escaped, and they were running away. And as that was going on, it cuts to Orochi and Kaido saying they've gone to protect Momonosuke, his heir. He has a son. I'll go take care of that. And as Kaido is making his way to go kill Momonosuke, there are numerous samurai, numerous people who are telling him, please don't leave the Kozuki clan alone, and Kaido just swats them away. Pretty much, I dare say, killing them in the process. And Orochi's there as well, saying any who dare to defy the Shogun may be shot on sight. And then it just shows the Beast Pirates just opening fire on anyone who spoke out against him, and Kaido trying to kill off the Kozuki clan. And then it shows the smoldering remains of Kozuki Castle. What about Odin's wife? She was confirmed dead in Bakura Town. No one else escaped from Odin Castle. The Kozuki clan has been thoroughly wiped out. Now choose, Daimyo. Will you join us in making our Wano great, or is it war? And then the daimyos of Udon, Ringo, Hakumai, and Kibi all refused, as they were there to take on Kaido and challenge Kaido and Orochi. Our only shogun is Kozuki. Avenge Odin's death. And it just shows Kaido wiping the floor with every single one of them. And it shows Orochi, who's just reveling in this massacre as he's laughing. You're all so weak. Does the word samurai mean nothing anymore? And it just shows multiple panels as Kaido is just killing everybody. And then it starts to show the shift as Wano went from this place of peace under Kozuki Odin, as more factories start to pop up. And it shows the turmoil of people as they have to endure the slavery that Odin and Kaido has put them through. Like, it shows more factories going up, it shows people being subjugated, it shows men being dragged away from their homes in order for them to force labor at these weapon camps. It shows wives saying, wait, don't take him away. It shows people trying to get water, but the water has been contaminated due to the pollution that has happened with all of these factories, and just pretty much the once beautiful country of Wano has been saturated. Hello there, sorry I'm so late. You just saw a Sonic Frontiers gameplay trailer? Excuse me? CJ? Don't mess with me. How are we getting a Sonic Frontiers gameplay trailer already? Where? Where? Oh, CJ. Oh, CJ. Oh, I gotta check that out when I get the chance. But hold on. I gotta focus on this real quick. And I need to raise my chair because I feel like I'm a bit too low in comparison to talking with the rest of you. There we go. I'll look at it later. I will look at it later. I'm sorry. I immediately got distracted. The moment you said Sonic Frontiers. Even if it's just a small snippet, that's more than enough to get me excited, because I'm excited to see some gameplay in next week's Summer Game Fest. But it just shows the squalor. It shows the squalor and state of Wano as it just goes from being this beautiful country to this barren wasteland that's just saturated with decay and famine, as numerous factories are in the background. It shows the bones of people, it shows crops have died, it shows mothers trying to figure out how they're going to feed their children. And then it just shows more of the labor that's going on inside of these factories as people are literally dropping dead. And the Beast Pirates and Orochi are saying no one's going to help. But some of the people who are there in these factories are saying, don't rush, be patient. There's a long road, long winter ahead. Trust in Lady Toki's words. And then it cuts to Orochi, who has a twisted sense of humor, as he says, look at those greedy beggars, Kaido. They actually gobbled up the leftover scraps of smile fruit. That's right. Learn from Ebisu Town. You might be hungry, but your family might be dead, but you can still laugh and lead a bright, cheery life. It's just what you writhing, crawling maggots deserve. And that is when it cuts back to the present, as during the last chapter, Orochi's nail, the Kairoseki nail that was stuck inside of Kaido, was shaken loose due to all the infighting that was happening. And he's able to transform back into his Yamata no Orochi form. But he's also still incredibly on fire. That link doesn't lead me anywhere, unfortunately, CJ. It doesn't go anywhere. It says something went wrong, please try again, but it doesn't actually go to something. But Orochi is completely free, but he's still on fire thanks to the Kanzenbo, and he says, I'll drag you down with me. Never count out the wrath of Kurozumi. We can share a drink again when we meet in the afterlife. And as that's happening, and Orochi is bearing down on Hiyori, who's there with him, she closes her eyes, preparing for the absolute worst, and then we have a voice from the background as some hands starts to unsheath a sword saying, Bedlam has arrived. And then Orochi is shocked to see that Denjiro comes in and cuts his head off completely. Just cuts his head off in an instant as Denjiro embraces and holds on to Hiyori. And then as that's happening, it cuts to the people the flower capital with one specific balloon saying, I wish Orochi would go away. And apparently that wish has been granted as the head of Orochi drops down to the floor and Hiyori is standing there and people are cheering on the pretty much the last hour that they can have of being cheerful. You know, in the past they would have these celebrations, but they would only be able to have this type of celebration once every time there's a fire festival. Must have been a leak or something, possibly. And Sega caught it and doesn't want anyone to see before Summer Game Fest. I mean, there is a link to a 38-second video. Oh, there is a teaser. It's an IGN teaser. IGN first. The official Sonic the Hedgehog website has it now. Okay, so it's there. Copy link. No, it's not. It's not a link. It's that one right there. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Sonic Frontiers is one of the games I'm looking forward to, and I can't wait. I want to look at the little snippet that they have, but I'll do that after the stream. I'll do that after. But as people are cheering, it says, please, one of the balloons says, I want clean water again. And another says, please release us from this hell. And then it shows the final panels, Luffy and Kaido beginning as they clash with one another. And the clash is massive. As you see the clash of conquerors from the both of them. Kaido's using his flame dragon torch. Luffy's using his Gum Gum Bajra gun. And that's the end of chapter 1048. So, if we go here to the short summary, in the past, Kaido was placed at... Oh, wait, hold on. No, this is... I'm over on the wrong one. Here it is. I had some tabs mixed up, so my apologies. In the short synopsis, we have Momonosuke headbutts Onigashima to get it out of the way of Luffy's attack, and Kaido unveils a new technique to try to protect himself, but fails due to Luffy's previous mastery of Ryuo, and both attacks clash. So he tries to use the Dragon Flame Torch against Luffy to burn him alive, but it fails because Luffy has previously mastered Ryuo, and he is able to use armament haki in such a way that he doesn't need to physically touch Kaido in order for his attack to work. Kawamatsu thinks back to the day 20 years ago when Kaido and Orochi's forces attacked Kuri to kill Momonosuke and the beginning of Kaido's and Orochi's enslavement of Wano country. Denjiro saves Hiyori from Orochi's attack, and the people at the fire festival release their paper lanterns in the air with their wish to become free again as Luffy and Kaido's attacks continue to clash. In quick notes for this chapter, Momonosuke remembers his family from 20 years ago and heads but Onigashima. The battle between Luffy and Kaido continues. Kaido uses a new technique that allows his entire dragon form to become extremely hot, causing Luffy to let go of him. As an example, a portion of Onigashima's horns melts in the process. Then Luffy unleashes his new attack on Kaido. Usopp and Hamlet accidentally drop Kinemon and Kikunojo due to panic caused by a water surge. A flashback shows the event after Oden's death 20 years ago. Kaido attacks Kuri with Orochi to hunt down Momonosuke after learning of his existence, along with the remaining Kozuki retainers, and burns down the Kozuki clan castle. Shimotsuki Ushimaru, Shimotsuki Yasuie, Fugetsu Umusubi, and Uzuki Tempura, as daimyo of the other regions of Wano, attack Kaido and Orochi. I did not notice that Yasuie was the one who attacked. Oh wait, he's right there. How did I miss Yasuie's face right here? It was so obvious. How did I miss his? How did I miss his face? How did I miss Yasuie's face attacking with all the other daimyos? I can't believe I've missed that. I apologize to everyone. How did I miss that? Had no idea what went wrong earlier. It's okay. It's fine, CJ. I can't wait to see some cosplay of this form of Luffy, both the gold and white. Ooh. Can you imagine the cosplay of Gear 5 Luffy? Once they release like an official color spread of it, it's going to be nice. But I can't believe that I missed that Yasuie was among the daimyos that attacked Kaido along with the other ones. After their resistance failed, Orochi started taking all capable men to work at the prisoner mine in Udon, leaving women and children behind at their homes. The effects of the activities at the mines were seen throughout the country, with water becoming undrinkable, infertile land, and air pollution. Orochi starts feeding the remaining citizens with defective smile fruits and was seen rejoicing with his courtesans during the tragedy. At the present, a still burning Orochi attempts to kill Hiyori. Denjiro protects Hiyori by decapitating Orochi's remaining head. So, a lot of people were thinking like, maybe Orochi isn't exactly dead yet. But given the nature of his devil fruit and how he survived being beheaded, but him in his Zoan form has been missing heads for every time he's been beheaded, this stands to reason that with Denjiro coming in and decapitating Orochi's remaining head, because he hasn't been seen regenerating his previous heads otherwise, it stands to reason that Denjiro has finally delivered the final blow to the Kurozumi line and has ended Orochi's reign as shogun over Wano, and the tyranny of Wano has finally come to an end, at least from Orochi's side. Because in the last chapter that we get this month, Luffy obviously ends the tyranny of Kaido as the winner of their battle. But we'll get to that. The citizens of the Flower Capital continue to celebrate the Fire Festival and release their paper lanterns into the sky. The wishes of the people on the lanterns are revealed of their wish to be free of Orochi and Kaido. And those are pretty much all the quick references and everything you need to know about what's going on in chapter 1048. Onwards to chapter 1049, which is titled The World That Should Be. And it shows the clash of Kaido and Luffy, with Kaido saying, "Well done." And it shows him in his dragon form trying to bite down on the fist of Luffy. And Luffy is kind of doing his best to resist against Kaido, with Kaido saying, "You fought hard to reach this point, but you cannot change the world." And then it has Kaido thinking back to his past, which a lot of people seem to have an issue with Kaido's backstory being so short. But I feel like you can't just, and a lot of people agree with me in the thought that you can't have the backstory of Kaido without also having the backstory of Rocks, because a great deal of Kaido's life is with the Rocks pirates. But in revealing a lot of his time with the Rocks pirates, you would have to also reveal Rocks himself. You would have to reveal Rocks as a person. You would have to reveal what he looks like completely. So for those who had an issue and those who weren't a big fan of how short his backstory was, I have to say, you can't just have his backstory without revealing the time of the Rocks pirates as a whole. Not just with Whitebeard and Big Mom and Kaido on there and Shiki the Golden Lion included. You have to include everyone else on the crew, the time of the Rocks pirates, their time as a crew, how unruly they were, and how they could never really work with one another. The fact that they were able to work together as long as they did leading up to the God Valley incident just is kind of curious, because you hear about that again. We already know that the Rocks Pirates was the most dangerous pirate crew of their time before Roger became the king of the pirates and before Garp was known as the hero of the Marines. But the fact that they were able to work as long as they did with all of these powerhouses on their crew, at this time, Big Mom already had a bounty on her, and she already knew how to use the Sorusou no Mi. Whitebeard at the time was still young, and I'm pretty sure he had the Quake fruit with him, and he was already powerful. And during that time, Kaido was recruited by Whitebeard, but I'm skipping ahead. As Luffy is clashing with Kaido, Kaido thinks back to his past, where as a young child, Kaido was the strongest soldier in his country. And the country that Kaido hails from is the Vodka Kingdom. And at 10 years old, he was the ultimate soldier of his entire kingdom. But since he was also, not only was he powerful, but he was also incredibly unruly. So they couldn't do much with him. With his king saying, "Our country can't stop going to war now. We have to win and loot the enemy to pay our heavenly tribute." As you see here, and as you listen, and as you hear this part, it shows that the Vodka Kingdom is not exactly in a good place where they can keep the tributes going for the Celestial Dragons. They literally have to go to war constantly in order to pay the tributes to the Celestial Dragons. And if you pay your tribute to the Celestial Dragons, then that means people who pay the tribute to the Celestial Dragons are the countries that are under the protection of the world government, as long as they keep the tributes going. Which means that the Vodka Kingdom was under the protection of the world government, but in order for them to keep paying the tributes, they'd have to constantly go to war, unless they risk being outed from the world government, and then the Celestial Dragons and the world government would just do with the kingdom with whatever they want. We have to win and loot the enemy to pay our heavenly tribute. Otherwise, the world will take away our human rights. And Kaido, at a young age, is standing there wondering, why does everyone bother to obey these Celestial Dragons anyway? And Kaido, even though he was the strongest soldier that they had and the ultimate soldier that they had in this country, he was incredibly unruly, to the point where his king says, "Knock it off, Kaido. I'm enlisting you. You'll join the Navy, because our country doesn't know what to do with you." And Kaido, already flippant, says, "Why should I be a government dog?" And one of the Marines is there, says, "In exchange for custody of Kaido, this country will receive the right to attend the next reverie." So, even though they were already having a hard enough time sending in heavenly tributes in order to remain part of the string of countries that are under the protection and can take advantage of the benefits of the world government, getting Kaido would make it so that the country would be able to attend the next reverie. And Kaido was upset at this, saying, "Don't use me as some political pawn." And then, as he's being transported, apparently Kaido escaped, and that's when he started to get a bounty on himself at a young age, with his starting bounty being 70 million berries. Then it has other Marines saying, "We captured Kaido, he escaped again." He gets caught when he's hungry, apparently. This is a prison ship, not a cafeteria. Then, cut to 44 years ago on Pirate Island Full which is also the island that Blackbeard occupies now. It shows Kaido being just as strong as ever, but at that time, he's only 15, and he's pretty much one of the strongest people there. He's so strong. Who is this guy? He's only 15. And it shows that Whitebeard was the one who recruited Kaido onto the Rocks Pirates. Because Whitebeard is there on Island Full of Lead, and he says, "Hey, you little snot, you want to be a pirate? Rocks wanted to meet you. What do you say?" And that at that point, Kaido had joined with the Rocks Pirates, and he got older, and he started to run with them. Started to run with the Rocks Pirates. Kaido joined the Rocks Pirates. They're unstoppable now. And then it cuts to Big Mom, though she's in a silhouette in the background, saying, "Big trouble, Kaido, come with me now. We're going to God Valley." And this trouble that led to, the Rocks Pirates being disbanded, and then Garp being known as a hero of the Marines, was the last time. And this would be the last time that Kaido would run with the Rocks Pirates. Then people are surprised, saying, "The Rocks Pirates are no more? What kind of joke is this with the monsters they've got?" Apparently it was a sailor named Garp who did it. Nah, they just couldn't stand each other. No teamwork in that group. As I said before, the Rocks Pirates are incapable of being able to work with each other. You had little issue with this rather truncated Cliff Sparks Notes version of Kaido's backstory. I'm sure that more will be revealed in the near future. See, I don't have an issue with this black backstory not being as long as like a full chapter, because there's just so much about Kaido's history that is linked with the Rocks Pirates that Oda is not ready to reveal yet. So he's just giving us the quick shots of the significant moments of his life other than the Rocks Pirates here. Of course, it's obviously going to cut back to the moment of God Valley, like they're going to God Valley, and then the aftermath, but we don't see the Rocks Pirates after that. We are not there where Oda wants to give us the full story of the Rocks Pirates. We're not there yet. And it has Big Mom shouting, "Where'd you go, Kaido, you big rat?" Then it cuts to Kurozumi Higurashi, who is talking to Kaido, and this is after she has already talked to Orochi, with her saying, "In the 10 years since that incident, you've become the embodiment of might, Kaido. Throughout human history, sheer might has solved all problems." And it has the Beast Pirates there as he's forming his crew, because he's there with King, and this is when he started to form his crew. The Beast Pirates are saying, "Of course it has. Humans are animals. Survival of the fittest is the law of nature." And then Kaido says, "You're darn right about that. And other Rocks remnants will make a name for themselves too, I'm sure. Weapons are what speak loudest in the world we live in, and I've got a deal you'll want to hear about." And this is how the plan between Orochi and Kaido started to be formulated, and how they started to join with one another. And then it cuts to Kaido talking to all his Beast Pirates in Onigashima as he says, "We're going to take all of these pampered noble-born rulers and drag them off their ivory thrones down to the battlefield with us. That's what I call equality and freedom. A world where only war decides a man's true worth." And then it cuts to Kaido talking with King, saying, "I wonder where that kid heard it. Yamato dropped Joy Boy's name. If he's the same as the man you're waiting for, King, I think I know who Joy Boy is." And King says, "Who is he?" And then Kaido continues saying, "Apparently Odin's desire to open the country is meant to welcome Joy Boy." Then it cuts back to the present as Kaido continues to clash with Luffy. And then the last remaining member of CP0 who is able to, move, uses Airwalk to just flee Onigashima, which means that this guy is going to report back to the world government and let everyone know what is going on. And then it cuts to Momonosuke saying, Luffy will win. Luffy will win. I know he will. And Yamato says, do it, Momonosuke. And then Momonosuke says, come forth, flame clouds. Do as I command. And then it shows everyone enjoying themselves for the final time. Or at least they think the final time. As they're celebrating and they're putting up the skyboats. Then it cuts to under the dome on the performance floor. As Kid is holding his head. And they're noticing something going on. And then the whole place is rumbling as the water of Zou that Raizo and Jinbei have been manipulating throughout the entire castle is washing through the entire castle. Brook gets swept up, Robin gets swept up due to them being devil fruit users. They are motionless and they can't do anything about it. We have some of the minks being swept up. We got Shachi and what looks to be Beppo and Penguin being swept up as well. We got one of the numbers being swept up with a poo. And it's putting out the flames as John Bart and Law look on. Everyone who's on the performance floor is seeing this massive tidal wave of water wash through the entire castle. And as this is going on, we see Kinemon and Kiku as Usopp is holding on to them. Nami and Chopper see this along with Tama. And the water is there's so much water of Zou flowing through the entire capital that it just flows out of every orifice of Onigashima. And in the process, it also starts to put out the flame clouds as well. And Sanji is hit by it as well, and he's there protecting some of the women. Frankie is there, telling everyone to hold on, don't get swept away as he holds on to Zoro. In the treasure repository, it washes through there as well, but it doesn't put out the flames of Orochi. It only goes near the bottom floor of the treasure repository. The upper floor is still flaming and smoldering, and it cuts to the head of Orochi still there, flaming and smoldering, as Denjiro says, you have been so brave and strong for all of these many years, Lady Hiyori. And he's just holding Lady Hiyori as she just cries, as it shows the still flaming head of Orochi in the background. And then, as that goes on, everyone is screaming, saying, does it feel like the island's falling? As it shows Onigashima shaking and starting to fall out of the air, as it starts to go away from Kaido, as Yamato says, the flame clouds disappeared, we're going down! And the flame clouds are, in fact, disappearing so much that Onigashima is starting to fall. Onigashima is going to fall! And then it cuts back to Kaido, as he's trying to bite into Luffy's hand, with his, he tries to bite it into Luffy's hand, with his Flame Dragon torch, saying, and what kind of world can you create, Straw Hat? And Luffy says, I'll make... As Momonosuke finally is able to summon numerous flame clouds that completely envelop Onigashima as he moves it away from the path of Luffy as he's clashing with Kaido. And Luffy says, I'll make a world where my friends can eat as much food as they want. And in this moment, Luffy completely obliterates Kaido's Flame Dragon torch. And due to the fact that he's using Advanced Conqueror's Haki, not only Conquerors, but he's also using Advanced Armament Haki as well, it goes completely through the flames, and it actually hits Kaido completely. And it hits Kaido with such force that he plummets headfirst into the ground. And there's a massive explosion from the impact, and it shows Kaido's body being punched deep into the earth. Now, let me just go back here. Goldie Roger. What an honor to have you here. Once again, Kaido's philosophy is quite reminiscent of Big Boss's initial stance. First of all, hello Goldie Roger, welcome to the stream. But secondly, I incorrectly thought during my initial reaction of this chapter that Luffy punched Kaido into the water. I incorrectly thought that because there's a sound effect that goes like whoop 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 whoop, and I usually associate that sound effect onomatopoeia, I think it's called, where if you're underwater, then that sound effect is associated with bubbling underwater. I am incorrect, because he punches him underground, but he doesn't punch him in the water, he punches him someplace else. But I incorrectly thought that he punched Kaido through the ground and then into water. Because I was going off on a big, I wouldn't say tirade, but I was trying to convince myself that due to the way that Wano country is set up in the world, like the country itself is set up high above the ocean, but there's still plenty of ocean around them, around the country, for it to be still some ocean, and then it drops off, and then it hits the regular ocean of the rest of the world. I incorrectly thought that Luffy punched Kaido through Wano into the underwater basin where the secret entrance that also goes underwater for Wano actually was. I was completely incorrect when I found out where he was actually punched into. So I was wrong. So for all the people that I've wasted the time trying to convince that no, he punched him underwater, no, he just punched Kaido straight through the earth. And where he ended up, we'll cut to in the next chapter. But it shows Kaido being punched deep into the earth. It also shows that Luffy punched Kaido's horn completely off. Like his leftmost horn, it completely snapped off from the punch because the left side of the face is where Luffy actually hit him. And it shows Kaido thinking back, and it shows a flashback of Kaido saying to King, "King, I think I know who Joy Boy is." And King says, "Who is he?" And Kaido says, "He's the man who shows up to beat me in the future." And it shows Kaido just plummeting deeper into the ground because the force of the blow was so great that he's just driving deeper underground, blood spewing from his nose and mouth, completely unconscious. With King saying in the past, in that case, I suppose we'll never see him. Then it shows Onigashima in the background, and it shows people still cheering, the lantern still going up, with one of them saying, bring the Kozuki clan back, and another one saying, beat the scary dragon. And Momonosuke has successfully managed to land Onigashima on the outskirts of the flower capital safely to the ground. So both crises have ended. The main crisis of Onigashima threatening the flower capital by either dropping down next to it or hitting the ground so hard that it kills everyone on Onigashima, and the bombs that were inside killing everyone as well, that crisis has been successfully averted. And due to Momonosuke, he's completely tuckered out, and Luffy is completely tuckered out, and that is the end of chapter 1049. So, let's go over the short summary of 1049, and we'll touch on all the quick references. Short summary. In the past, Kaido was placed in the custody of the Marines so his country could join the world government until he escaped and joined the Rocks Pirates. In the past, as the remaining CP0 agent flees and the water from Raizo's scroll spreads throughout the rest of the Skull Dome to douse the rest of the flame, Kaido's flame clouds disappear around Onigashima. As Luffy declares that he will create a world where his friends can eat as much as they like, he administers the final blow. Momonosuke successfully creates his own flame clouds to safely land Onigashima just as both he and Luffy collapse from exhaustion. So if we go to a quick note here, chapter notes, a flashback of Kaido's path is shown, and we have like sub-references in here as well. Kaido was placed in the custody of the Marines in exchange for allowing his country, the Vodka Kingdom, to gain the rights to attend the Reverie. Now, if we go over here to the Vodka Kingdom, it was a homeland of Kaido of the Four Emperors. Nothing is known about the current state of Vodka, but around 40 to 50 years ago, the kingdom was very poor and worn down. In order to pay the heavenly tribute, Vodka was forced to wage war against other countries and loot them, which it managed to accomplish thanks to the strength of its most powerful military asset, the young soldier Kaido. So it's thanks to Kaido that the Vodka Kingdom was able to pay the heavenly tributes because they used him to pretty much ransack every place he went to. 46 years ago, the kingdom attempted to gain the right to attend the Reverie in exchange for Kaido's forceful drafting into the Marines, but it is unknown whether they ever did due to Kaido's subsequent escape, so we don't even know the current state of the Vodka Kingdom due to Kaido escaping the very first time they tried to send him off to the Marines. So for all we know, the Vodka Kingdom could no longer be a kingdom anymore, because not only did they lose the ability to... They lost the entire ability to use Kaido as their asset to gain access to the reverie and thus the benefits of being joined with the world government. But since he escaped right after they tried to take him, it is unknown what state the country is in right now. So for all we know, the Vodka Kingdom could just be a squalor at this point, since it's been over 40 to 50 years since then, and who knows if they were able to keep up with it. So that's all the information we have on the Vodka Kingdom. But Kaido was placed in the custody of the Marines in exchange for allowing his country, the Vodka Kingdom, to gain the right to attend the reverie. His first bounty was 70 million berries after he escaped. He met Whitebeard on Hachinose, island full of lead. He met Higurashi sometime after recruiting King to the Beast Pirates, and Kaido's dream is to plunge the world into war due to his hatred for the world nobles. So even though he hates the world nobles, but even he can't shake off his upbringing. Because think about it, he wants to plunge the world into war due to his hatred for the world nobles. So he's pretty much still doing the same exact thing he's always did since he was a kid. But this time, he's not doing it for his... The difference is, in the past, he did it because his country needed him to in order to serve the world nobles. This time, his dream is to plunge the world into war because he hates the world nobles. So his reasons for waging war were completely different as he got older. Beforehand, he was forced to because his country needed it. But now that he's older, his dream is to plunge the world into a world war so that he can bring down the very people that forced him into fighting war at such a young age. And thus began his entire tirade of just how he behaved for the rest of his days. Vodka Kingdom needs some elaboration, especially if it still exists. Exactly what I'm saying. I going back to it, CJ. It's been 40 to 50 years since Kaido left and escaped. So we don't even know the current state of the Vodka Kingdom. We don't know if they found a new way for them to try and stay with the world government since they lost Kaido and Kaido escaped numerous times. We don't even know the current state of the Vodka Kingdom. I don't even think we see the Vodka Kingdom even referenced at the Reverie. So, for all we know, the Vodka Kingdom could be no more since they lost their most valuable asset. Then we have some more. The remaining CP0 agent escapes Onigashima, undoubtedly going back to Marijois to report to the Gorosei what has happened. And specifically, one thing that is definitely going to set the Gorosei on fire is the fact that the very devil fruit, that the very same devil fruit that they feared being in the hands of anyone else but themselves, the one that they kept saying had a will of its own and they could never get their hands on it, the very thing that they tried to wipe from history, they even tried to change its official name in order to keep people from finding out about it. At what point do you think he and King met during their flashback? I would dare say one of the times that Kaido has been captured. But it's definitely before, the time when Kaido escaped and he would always come back and get captured again on the prison ship. It had to be one of the times when they brought him to Punk Hazard for him to be experimented on by Vegapunk. And that's when Vegapunk extracted his DNA and created that artificial devil fruit that he called a failure, which Momonosuke ended up eating many years later. So it had to have been one of the times that Kaido was captured by the Marines again, and then brought to Vegapunk. Though it doesn't exactly show us when he was captured, but it had to be during one of those times when he was captured, because it has shown that he has been captured numerous times. Several times, actually. One of those times had to have been when he was taken to Punk Hazard, and that's when he met King. But it had to be on one of the earlier times he was captured, because when he met King, King was just a kid back then. And then many years later, King is an adult alongside Kaido. So it had to be one of his most earliest escapes. Not just one of his escapes of when he Not just one of his early escapes when he escaped the first time, but it had to be one of his earliest escapes. I would dare say it had to be around the time when the Rocks pirates were completely disbanded. It had to have been after. A good time frame would be after the Rocks pirate, after the God Valley incident. After the God Valley incident is when Kaido was captured again by the Marines, experimented on by Vegapunk. That's when he met King. So it had to have been after the God Valley incident when he was captured again. And that's when he met King as a kid. And that's when they met up. Had to have been there. But the very devil fruit that the world government has feared getting in the hands of anyone else but themselves, CP0 is going to report on that. Going to report on Big Mom being defeated. Going to report on Kaido being beaten up as well. Because the CP0 agent is not there. Maybe in a year or two, we as fans can make a coherent and cohesive timeline for Kaido. We have to. We have to. Oh my goodness. I feel like we'll have a cohesive timeline for Kaido completely once we find out more about the Rocks pirates, because there's still parts of Kaido's past that we need to know of, such as the very moment where Big Mom gave him the fish fruit and his time with the Rocks pirates, because I feel Kaido's timeline is not done yet. I feel even though the next chapter spells the complete defeat of both Big Mom and Kaido, the past of Kaido is just as important as his present, because his time with Rocks will give us so much information, such as how his crewmate how his time with the Rocks pirates, how everyone interacted with one another, seeing Shiki the Golden Lion in an official sense, because we've only seen Shiki the Golden Lion referenced in the manga itself, but never him in an official capacity. We've seen him in the non-canon film in Strong World, I believe, but we never seen him officially, like his face and everything. We just seen him shadowed. But Shiki being fully revealed and canon during his time with the Rocks pirates, there's so much about the Rocks pirates and Kaido's history that we don't know yet, that we just have to wait until the Rocks pirates' history is expunged upon. So I can't wait to see that. But the world government is about to have a major shakeup, but I'll continue that once we get done with the rest of these chapters. The remaining CP0 agent escapes Onigashima. The water continues to flood Onigashima, reaching the live stage. Kaido's flame clouds have successfully disappeared, with Momonosuke successfully creating his own flame clouds and landing Onigashima. So the threat of Onigashima falling from the sky is completely averted. We don't need to worry about that anymore. There's literally no more loose ends we have to tie up when you think about it. The battle between Luffy and Kaido concludes. Luffy declares that he will create a world where his friends can eat as much as they want. Luffy lands a hit on Kaido, making him crash straight through to the ground in Wano country. And then it also shows that Kaido's left horn is broken off. I told you, I noticed that as well. As he is passing out, Kaido remembers once telling King that he believed Joy Boy is destined to defeat him. And then finally, both Luffy and Momonosuke collapse from exhaustion. Then, and that is the end of the chapters, ladies and gentlemen, of 1049. Now we move on to the final chapter of May and the official conclusion to the fight of Luffy versus Kaido in chapter 1050, Honor. And it shows Kaido plummeting deeper into the earth as he shifts into his human form. And it shows him falling on a linear path, the same place as Big Mom. And it turns out that the place that Big Mom and Kaido have ended up in is a giant magma chamber deep under the earth of the entire country of Wano. They both have fallen into a massive chamber of lava. They both have fallen down in there. But it also shows that due to the force of them falling in there, that parts of the earth underneath is starting to crack from the added disturbance of Big Mom's body and Kaido's body falling in there. And it shows here with the narration, above Wano, the battle on the roof of the Skull Dome, Onigashima, winner formerly Kaido. And it shows Yamato running to catch Luffy as he falls out of his Gear 5 state, and he's completely unconscious now. I can only think about the drawbacks and how long he's going to stay asleep, because in his Gear 4th form, after the fight of with Doflamingo during the Dressrosa arc, he was unconscious for several days. And it was during those several days that Fujitora kept rolling dice to see if he was going to arrest them or not, and Luffy was able to stay unconscious and rest up several days. Gear 5 was Luffy coming out of his near-death state, so I can only imagine just how unconscious he's going to be. But it shows Yamato catching Luffy and laughing as he sleeps. It shows Yamato walking up to Momonosuke as he's incredibly tired. Meanwhile, in the capital, the festival was approaching a lively conclusion. And it shows Toko here as Hitetsu is thinking back to what Toko was talking about, saying, I heard Daddy used to be really important. He knew he would be killed if they caught him. And Hitetsu was surprised that Toko would know this information. But he went ahead and let them arrest him anyway. That's what someone told me. I wonder why. And Hitetsu is thinking back to Yasuye as he says, the friendly oddball of Ebisu Town shall make the final grand journey. And Toko says, Yasuye gave this country a fighting chance. And Hitetsu says, if he had not done what he did, when he did it, all of the lights of Hode we'd built up would have gone out. He gave his life to protect the future of Wano. And it cuts to Yasuye, who's there as Toko had pretty much inadvertently, accidentally eaten one of the defective smiles, and she starts laughing, with him saying, Toko, don't tell me you ate that fruit. And he's smiling, saying, you save any for me? Now, I thought that he ate the fruit with his daughter, but someone told me that he just decided to laugh with his daughter so that she wouldn't feel like she was, alone in it. So he just laughed for the rest of his days. He didn't eat the fruit. He just kept smiling around everyone so that they wouldn't feel like the odd person out due to them being forced to be that way. Let me get the short summary of 1050 here. And then it cuts back to when Toko was speaking to Hitetsu, saying he did that to preserve the future so that you might grow up to be... Hitetsu says he did that to preserve the future so that you might grow up to be happy. And Toko says, he did it for me? And he says, that's right. In that case, I'll change my message. And then she shows it to Hitetsu, and Hitetsu can only do but, wipe his eyes. As it turns out that the one balloon that she had said, I want to see Daddy. She then changed it to say, Daddy, thank you. And as the lanterns all rise up into the air, and everyone's remaining skyboats rises into the air, Toko is laughing, and Hitetsu is just smiling, which we really haven't seen him do the whole time. This might be the first time we see Hitetsu smiling the entire time we've seen him in the entire Wano arc, because he's always had this stoic, regular face on, especially with this mask. But with this mask on, he's still able to smile underneath it. We can see his lips, but he's smiling underneath his mask, as all the skyboats are just rising into the air. And they can be seen from Onigashima, and Nekomamushi's on top saying, haven't seen that in years, the skyboats from the festival. And then he says, oh, right. And he screams down into the hole of the roof, saying, listen up, Yugara, I can confirm it. Luffy smashed Kaido all the way deep into the earth. Onigashima would have fallen, but Lord Momonosuke turned into a giant dragon and stopped it. Is that right? And then Yamato says, yep. And then the samurai are saying, then that pink dragon was Lord Momonosuke? He has powers? Because they never saw Momonosuke transform into a pink dragon. It's only been the Straw Hat crew and those on the close samurais and those of the Akazaya 9 who have seen that form. But now they know that the pink dragon that was, whipping through all of Onigashima many chapters ago, that was actually Momonosuke. After 20 long years of waiting for the chance to avenge Lord Odin's death, we are victorious! And then everyone is cheering. And it cuts to Kawamatsu, it cuts to Raizo, it cuts to Denjiro, and it cuts to Hiyori, who has her arm positioned in a certain way. We don't know what she's doing, but it's peculiar how she's completely in shadow here, so we don't know what she's doing here. It cuts to Kid and Killer, Beppo and Law. It cuts to Apu saying, Straw Hat beat Kaido? And it cuts to everyone cheering. Marco's in the background, Zeus is there, Nami's there, Tama's there, Komachiyo. Grandpa Hugh and the rest of the underground Yakuza bosses are there. Usopp is there carrying Kiku and Kinemon screaming for Chopper to take care of them. Frankie is there with Zoro saying for asking Chopper to take care of them. Numerous people are calling for Chopper to take care of them, with Miyagi and Tristan coming in to help because he's like Chopper has, as he has tears in his eyes because he's happy that Luffy won. He's also has his plate full, taking care of all the patients. And then it cuts to Momonosuke, who's speaking to Zunisha, who's on the outskirts of Wano, saying, "Zunisha, can you hear me? I have thought long and hard. I will not open the borders yet to Wano." So this speaks on the level of Momonosuke's maturity, as he doesn't want to open up Onigashima just yet. Wonder what tracks the anime will use during this part. That's actually a good thought, because they like to use some themes, but I wonder what they'll use for when Luffy, when it's officially announced that Luffy has beaten Kaido. I actually wonder what type of musical theme they'll use. But I have to talk about Momonosuke saying, "I will not open the borders yet." Even though he aged up 20 years, he's still at some point still mentally an 8-year-old, because you don't just instantly become mature just because you increase your age. But I think this is a very mature decision from Momonosuke to not open the borders yet, because it's not yet time for Wano to be open to the world, because there's still many great dangers out there. Now, whether or not Momonosuke sees those dangers or just thinks about how much danger he would put Wano in if he opened the borders remains to be seen. We'll have to see just how he behaves when we see him in his human form eventually. But this is a very mature move from Momonosuke to not open up Wano quite yet. And Zunisha says, "Very well, I will respect your decision. I trust in your judgment." And Momonosuke wobbly gets up, says, "Good, thank you." And then all of Wano starts shaking as he says, "Is this an earthquake?" And then we go back to explosions happening in Onigashima as the Beast Pirates are still trying to put up a fight, saying, "It's too early to celebrate, fools. We still got you outnumbered. Lose focus and you lose the fight. Now surrender," as they have numerous cannons aimed towards the samurai, saying, "There's no way Kaido lost. We're an Emperor's crew." And the samurai are still confused as to why the Beast Pirates are still trying to fight. And Frankie, who's already ready to fight, says, "You want to go a few more rounds? I'm game." And then Brook is all like, "Let's not, Frankie." Then Momonosuke gets in the midst of them, saying, "Stand down, Animal Kingdom pirates. You have already died once in this fight." And then the Beast Pirates are surprised to see Yamato there. And Yamato says, "Onigashima would have smashed into the ground if not for our leader. Spoken like a member of the enemy," says one of the Beast Pirates. "After losing the fight and being saved from certain death, if you go back to fighting, I will destroy you." And given how strong Yamato is in comparison to everyone else currently there right now, seeing as how she was almost able to fight evenly with Kaido, fighting with Yamato right now, not one of the best moves. So it'd probably be better off if they don't try and fight her now. Because as of right now, the closest thing to Kaido in strength is Yamato. Because 1, Luffy is unconscious, and 2, Kaido is deep in the earth, in the pit of magma right now. So pretty much the strongest person who is there right now is Yamato. Yeah. The strongest person that is currently there right now is Yamato right now. So Beast Pirates would probably be better off giving up. And then all of Wano starts shaking again as more earthquakes start to happen. And then it cuts to the underground magma pool as it shows the silhouetted bodies of both Kaido and Big Mom. So Big Mom has been down there in that magma pool this entire time after her defeat from Kid and Law. She's been down there this whole time. And then Kaido landed next to her. And then it cuts to the excavation labor camp as the earthquake is being felt throughout the entire labor camp. And all of the factories are seen shaken from the force of this. And then it shows bubbling and smoke coming from the ocean as Babanuki is watching on. Babanuki, something's happening down on the seafloor. And then the ocean explodes as a ginormous volcanic eruption just sets off the coast of Wano, with the final narration, the final battle in the skies over Wano, winner, Straw Hat Luffy. So this chapter pretty much officially concluded and spelled the end of Luffy's fight versus Kaido. There's no more trying to dispel it. There's no more trying to dismiss it. There's no more thinking that Kaido's going to come back in any way. The chapter has officially spelled the end of the fight between Luffy and Kaido. And even the official One Piece Twitter page, the Japanese version and the American version, they both the official One Piece Twitter page and the Shonen Jump Twitter page both officially announce the end of this fight. So regardless of whether people think this is the true end of Kaido or not, the official One Piece page and Shonen Jump page have officially announced that this is the end of the fight between Luffy and Kaido. It's over. It's done. The fight's done. There's no more loose ends. All fighting is done on Onigashima. No more Tobiropo, no more calamities, no more Fukurokuju and the Oniwabanchu and Mimiwarigumi. There's no more Orochi. No more loose ends to tie up. Apu's still around, but he's not a threat. Let's face it, he's not a threat at all. Big Mom has been defeated, and Kaido has been defeated. And this volcanic eruption has happened due to Big Mom and Kaido falling into this pit of magma. So they pretty much are caught in this ginormous volcanic explosion, which basically eclipses the skies and just fills the skies with dark clouds and lightning. Due to that, and Babanuki and everyone else just watches on as an underground volcanic eruption happens. It shows Luffy, who's unconscious but also smiling. And then all of the Flower Capital, who were just reveling in the celebrations of the Fire Festival, they finally take notice to everything that has been happening now. They finally notice the massive explosion because it affects the Flower Capital as well. The earthquake shakes everywhere. It shakes Onigashima on the outskirts. It shakes the Flower Capital. And they're saying that was towards Udon. And then they all notice that Onigashima is directly next to them. Are Kaido's goons doing something? And then Momonosuke comes flying in his dragon form saying, all is well, you are not in danger. But everyone in the Flower Capital has never seen Momonosuke or knows that it's Momonosuke in this dragon form, and they mistakenly think it's Kaido, not paying attention to the fact that Kaido is blue and Momonosuke is pink. So they are already jumping the gun because if the citizens of Wano paid attention, they would know that this is not Kaido, because if they paid attention to detail, they would know that this isn't Kaido. But they see a dragon and they immediately think of Kaido, and so they automatically get scared, with one of them saying, Kaido, what is he doing here? This is supposed to be our day of freedom. And then Momonosuke is there floating in the same manner as Kaido, like his body is serpentine and then floating in the background behind him in different loops. He's saying, I am not Kaido. That eruption was the final drumbeat signaling the end of Kaido, Supreme Commander of the Animal Kingdom Pirates. And that's when everyone stops, because they all start running from him, because they just see Kaido when they see him. But they all stop as soon as he does that. And it shows Momonosuke flying into the ground and a poof sound effect happening as he turns back into his human form. And then as everyone stops, the dust starts to part and they start to see figures inside of the dust. There are people coming through the dust. And then everyone is shocked to see not only the Akazaya 9, but they're shocked to see Hiyori as Komurasaki, dressed up as Komurasaki, in her whole Komurasaki getup. Lady Komurasaki, no way, is that a ghost? We just held the funeral for her. Is this a dream, a vision? And due to Komurasaki being the most beautiful individual that anyone in Wano has ever seen, they're immediately awestruck and love-struck from seeing her face after all this time. And Kiyoshiro comes through, Denjiro comes through, because everyone else is still shrouded in smoke, but Denjiro is the only one to come through with Hiyori and stand there in front of her with someone saying, Boss Kiyoshiro! Wait, what happened to his style and hair? Because they don't know, the citizens don't know that Kiyoshiro has been Denjiro this whole time, and he has no other reason to have that stupid fake pompadour on his head anymore. And he steps forward in front of Hiyori saying, it'll be a long, long story, we've brought the new shogun of Wano. So, ladies and gentlemen, some fans wanted the fight to be longer or at least more involved. I think Kaido lived up to his strongest creature moniker. I have to agree with you right there, CJ. This fight was as paced as it needed to be. We did not need to have another Dressrosa where the fight between Doflamingo and Luffy was stretched on for several chapters. We didn't need that. We did not need this fight between Luffy and Kaido to be any longer than it already was. So, to the fans that wanted the fight to be longer, really? You want to pad out the fighting that much longer? To do what? Were you expecting to see an awakening from Kaido? Were you expecting to see one big final trump card? Or maybe see him come back or something like that? No. We had to see the end of this fight. There was nothing else to do. And unless they were hoping the fight would be longer so they would cut back to more flashbacks so they could see more of Kaido's past, but we're not ready to see the rest of Kaido's past yet. So either one of the two things, they were hoping the fight would be longer so they could see one thing, see either more flashbacks of Kaido or see more power from Kaido and maybe even see an awakening from him. I'm pretty sure those were the two reasons they wanted to see more of the fight. Either one of those two reasons. Because story-wise, there was no need for the fight to go on any longer. So I can't get with those people's ideas of thinking that it should have been more involved. It was involved enough. What more did you need to do? It was these two individuals using some of their strongest moves against one another. It didn't need to go any much further than that. Because if you went any further than that, then you would have to show Luffy using more and more of Gear 5, which he then will probably have to use later in the future. But he'll have to be... That would insinuate that Oda is prepared to show more of what Gear 5 can do if the fight was supposed to go on any longer. I feel like Gear 5 is going to play a part in the future, in future fights, but that's when it's going to get more involved. So I'm perfectly okay with the fight being paced as it is right now. You like the character development of Momonosuke during this arc? Yes! Momonosuke went from the sniveling, crying, babyish 8-year-old to when he was aged up thanks to Shinobu's devil fruit power. He had to take on the role of being mature, even though mentally he's still an 8-year-old. He had no other choice but to force himself to get over his fears, such as his fear of flying, and get over his fear of Kaido, which he did by biting directly into Kaido, albeit he was still scared at the same time. And also had to get over his fear of not being able to do what his father wanted him to do and open up Wano's borders and fulfill the dreams of Lady Toki and bring about the new dawn of Wano. Momonosuke has made some significant strides. Granted, even during the beginning, before the big fight of Onigashima even started, when Kaido was preparing to execute him, he got up enough courage to say, "My name is Kozuki Momonosuke, and I'm going to be the Shogun of Wano." That was a big moment that started to jumpstart his character development during this arc. And throughout, even when he started to be fearful, granted, it was great that he had people around him that made him see that you can't be this coward for the rest of your life. You can't be scared of these individuals for the rest of your life. I'm grateful that Momonosuke had both Yamato and Luffy there in front of him to snap him back to reality in order to realize that, hey, if you're going to be the Shogun of Wano, you can't be no coward. So it's great to see that Momonosuke went from this child that was just scared of everything to now being an adult, still mentally a child, that has learned to grow as a man now. So one of the best character developments of Momonosuke during this arc was of Momonosuke. Because if you think back to where he was when we first saw him during Punk Hazard, and then his adventures going up here, he was just this pampered kid. This pampered but fearful little kid. And the more he spent with Luffy and the rest of them, the more he started to come into his own. And during this whole ordeal with Onigashima and the raid with the samurai, that's when he started to, become a lot braver. So this was a fantastic character development arc during this arc for Momonosuke. But now that we're done with this chapter, now we can go through the short summary of chapter 1050, and then I can talk about where I think the story is going to go from here, and the fact that we no longer have any more loose ends to tie up. So, in the short summary, an unconscious Kaido falls deep into a lava pit where Big Mom also fell. The second impact causes an underwater volcanic eruption with both seemingly caught in the mix. As the fire festival is coming to an end, Nekomamushi announces Luffy's victory and Yamato stops the disillusioned beast pirates from any further battle. Momonosuke tells Zunisha that he doesn't want to open Wano's borders for the moment. When his presence causes the people of Wano to mistake him for Kaido, Momonosuke reverts back just as Komonosaki and Kiyoshiro appear, with the latter announcing the new shogun of Wano. Now, I cut back to when Yamato threatened the beast pirates to not fight anymore, and the beast pirates obviously gave up instantly because you don't see any struggle of how the Akazaya 9 managed to get all the way back to the Flower Capital so easily. So Yamato's threat of destroying all of them, they tried to fight again, it was enough to keep the beast pirates completely at bay. Although it would have been cool to know more about Yamato's parentage and past, but I can see more of that being revealed, particularly if she joins the Straw Hats proper, or at least the Grand Fleet. See, a lot of people want Momonosuke to join Luffy's crew, and a lot of people want Yamato to join Luffy's crew. And while it would be nice to see them both, they can just as easily have as much impact with Luffy and the rest of them if they just join the Grand Fleet. Because think about it. If they join the Grand Fleet, then sure, they can be at the beck and call of Luffy if he ever needs them, but they won't have to worry about shirking any responsibilities they still have to Wano. Because think about it. If Momonosuke ends up becoming the shogun of Wano, if he just makes an alliance with Luffy as part of the Grand Fleet, he can still keep with his responsibilities as shogun without having to worry about, like, hey, I'm not going to be the shogun of Wano, so I'm just going to travel with Luffy around the world like my father did, or anything like that. He can still maintain the ability to run Wano if need be, but still be available to help out Luffy and the rest of them if they need them. So I feel like if they were to join the Straw Hats in any way, then the Grand Fleet would be a far better option for them than just joining on the one pirate ship that they're going on. Just joining up with Luffy's crew immediately. That's how I feel. I feel it'd be better if they just partner and align themselves with the Grand Fleet of Luffy rather than just join directly on them in the Sunny. Not saying that Momonosuke is the only option for Shogun of Wano, because of course you have Hiyori as well. That's an option as well. But I just feel like they shouldn't have to make Momonosuke choose or Yamato choose to travel with Luffy or whatnot. For all we know, Yamato can just go adventuring on her own and then be at the beck and call of Luffy, or the Grand Fleet if he needs her. All she has to do is just make a Viva card, because she knows how to make Viva cards. All she had to do is just make a Viva card that she can give to the rest of the Straw Hats, so that if they need to find her or she needs to find them, then she has a way to get to them. I wouldn't be surprised if they make Viva cards so that that Momonosuke and Yamato have a way to get to the Straw Hats. Just in case they don't end up joining with them, I can see them making Viva cards so that they know where Luffy and the rest of them are going. That's how I feel. Welcome, Aristox. I'm just talking about the end of chapter 1050 of One Piece. Then I'm going to talk about where I think One Piece is going to go from here, story-wise. And then I'm just going to call it here. Call this a session here for today. We've gone over 3 chapters of One Piece. You started Breath of the Wild again? Oh, you told me about Breath of the Wild and how you lost all that progress. I wish you nothing but the best of luck so you can get back to where you were. Just take your time, save often, and make sure you don't hit delete save by accident. But now that I've read through the short summary of it, let's go through the quick references because we have a bit to cover. Chapter notes: Kaido transforms back into his human form and lands into an underground chamber filled with magma. An illustration shows Big Mom also landed in that chamber as well. From the impacts of them falling into the lava, they destabilized they destabilize the magma flow underground. Just them falling through the earth, just the force that they fell through the earth was enough to destabilize the underground volcano underneath Wano. An illustration shows Big Mom also landed in that chamber. From the impact, some magma starts to rise towards the south of Wano country, where Onigashima used to be, before it bursts. Yamato saves Luffy from crashing into the ground, and the people of Wano finish releasing their paper lanterns. It is revealed in a flashback that when Toko recognized what Yasuie's sacrifice did was to give the rebels a fighting chance, she decided to change her wish to thank her late father for his actions. Toko remembers when her father was angry with her for eating a smile fruit before asking her if she saved some of it for him. Nekomamushi is on the roof of the Skull Dome, and he declares to the Alliance and the Beast Pirates at the live stage that Luffy has defeated Kaido. The Alliance members celebrate the news. Usopp brings Kinemon and Kikunojo with Frankie brings Zoro to Chopper for treatment. The Beast Pirates try to continue their attack, but are stopped by Yamato. Momonosuke talks to Zunisha and tells him his decision of not opening up Wano's borders for the moment. After the eruption at the south, Momonosuke flies in his dragon form to the flower capital, frightening the citizens. Momonosuke transforms back, and from the smoke, 8 individuals emerge, Kiyoshiro and Komurasaki among them. Kiyoshiro announces that they brought with them the new Shogun of Wano. $1,050? Yeah. What mic is that? Oh, this is a snowball mic, but I just have it on like a professional mic stand, so I no longer have to use my hands in order to hold it up. But it's a very good mic. Plus, I have this voice mod program with a lifetime license, so I have it forever and I don't need to keep paying for it. That makes it so that my voice is completely clean and it cuts out any background noise that I don't want to hear on the side as well. So really, this is by far one of the best investments I had audio-wise for this channel. So it's great. So it's good. It's good. But that's the end of all the chapters that we got of One Piece in the month of May. Now, let's talk about where the story is possibly going to go from here. Hold on. Hold on, I'm responding to a message in Discord. I'm letting Gajeel know, because he says he has the biggest smile on his face, and he's screaming out loud from the teaser of the Sonic Frontiers trailer that I showed him, but I haven't seen it yet. But I need to see it for myself. I need to see it for myself. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. You say check Discord real quick. General chat. I have such the most basic face. I have such the most basic face. Oh, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that. I like that photo. It's just me, just like... What are you doing? Why are you taking pictures of me? Saying don't hit delete again, you had lost. Oh, I'm not trying to bully you. I was just saying, please be careful. Just be careful the next time. You taking photos of me, man? That's actually hilarious. That's actually hilarious. I find that funny. Oh, man. You just got my most blankest stare, then apparently an evil laugh, and then me just laughing casually. That's actually quite wholesome. Okay, now we need to talk about where the story of One Piece is going to go from here. So, I don't need to do a recap about all the loose ends that we need to cover for One Piece because we've already gone through them. There is nothing else to cover. No more loose ends to tie up. All the Tobi Roppo have been defeated. All the calamities have been defeated. Both Big Mom and Kaido have been defeated. CP0 is no longer a factor as the last remaining CP0 agent hightails it over to Marijois. Make those into server stickers? Ooh, I might be able to do that. I could cosplay as Ultimate Cyclops? Really? That's interesting. Maybe. Make them into server stickers? I need to figure out how to do that. Oh, so I can. Oh, I can make it into stickers. Okay, I have the option to do that, but I'll do that after the stream. I'll do that after the stream. I'll do it after. I can make it, but I'll do it after. You would take it some of the most perfect pictures. But let me stop. As of right now, there's nothing else that we need to cover in Wano other than the aftermath now. But I fear how the world is going to respond to the news of both Big Mom and Kaido being defeated by Luffy. And then the world government finding out that Luffy has the Hito Hito no Mi. Because they're already still the world is already still reeling from the news of the Reverie being attacked by the revolutionaries, and they're already reeling from the abolishment of the Seven Warlords. So it's just been a string of big news that affects the world in a major way. Now they're going to hear the news of two of the most powerful pirates we have seen in the entire series being defeated by the worst generation. And not to mention that the world government was also working with Orochi trying to get some weapons from them. Now the world government is no longer going to get any weapons from Wano because Orochi is no longer in power. So the world government's ties to Wano and with the weapons factories and everything, that's no longer going to be a factor. Momonosuke is not opening the borders yet because there's still too many variables that could put the country of Wano at risk. The world government and the Gorosei and even Im-sama are going to find out that Luffy has the power of the most ridiculous devil fruit. And he's awakened it now. Bounties are definitely going to be put up for Luffy and the rest of the gang due to their efforts and what part they took in Wano in this big battle in Onigashima. And just imagine the Charlotte children, all of the Charlotte family that went there. Oh, so it's Momonosuke and not Mom Inosuke? No, it's not Mom Inosuke, it's Momonosuke. Momo. Just call him Momo if you can't remember the rest of it, just in case. That's what everyone calls him. They just call him Momo. But the Charlotte children that went with Big Mom to Wano, Marco did predict that by the time you get back up here, the world will have changed. So the Charlotte children haven't even made it up to the top of Wano yet, and we haven't seen them. And Big Mom and Kaido have already been defeated. They fell into this underground volcano, and the volcano exploded with them seemingly inside. Orochi's head has been cut off, so the threat of Orochi is gone. So as soon as the Charlotte children get up there, Smoothie and the rest of them get up there, they're going to find that Big Mom isn't even there. Big Mom isn't there to be found. Kaido isn't there to be found. The world will have literally changed by the time they get back up there. Now, the thing is, they're expecting to see Onigashima. They're pretty much expecting to see Onigashima as they head back up there. But Onigashima is now inland next to the flower capital now. So now, what are they going to do? If they think they're going to fight Luffy because of what happened with Big Mom and Kaido, they got another thing coming because they got an entire country that's probably more than likely going to protect him while he's recovering. So the Charlotte children are not going to have any choice but to go back to Whole Cake Island. And when it comes to Big Mom and Kaido, even though they were caught in an underwater volcanic eruption, it doesn't show their bodies being flung out of the volcano from the explosion. So for all we know, they're still underground. And if that water rushes in and just comes up on them, you just missed a screenshot? Ah, that's a shame. If the water rushes in around Big Mom and Kaido, then they're still in peril because with them being Devil Fruit users, water is their kryptonite and they can't swim in it. So even if they weren't launched out of the volcano, they're probably still underground, and if the water hits them, then they're basically done for either way. But it still remains to be seen. Their status is unknown. We don't know the specifics of their apparent demise or whatever. So we just have to see. Now, as far as where we're going to go from here, as far as the story is concerned, it's still... I thought I heard something. You're probably going to take a picture of that. I know you are. It still remains to be seen where the story is going to go from here, because as of right now, we're just going to go through the same deal with Dressrosa and the aftermath of, and its aftermath as we are going to go through the aftermath of Wano now, as Luffy and the rest of the crew are recovering. So last time we went through a big ordeal where Luffy displayed a new gear for gear state. He was the only one unconscious and everyone else was resting. But everyone else had a ton more to do in this entire arc now. So Zoro is probably going to be unconscious as well as Luffy. I wouldn't be surprised if Sanji's incredibly tired. I wouldn't be surprised if everyone is just basically tired and sleeping, because all the Straw Hats did a massive amount during this entire arc. So they're going to be I'm pretty sure they're going to be resting up this entire time. Where we're going to go from here, I don't know. We could go to Elbaf. We could go cut back to the world and what happened at the Reverie. We could get the reveal of Ryoku Gyu. We could see what happened when the Revolutionary Army was taken on Marijois and the like. It still remains to be seen where... We don't know where the story is going to go from here. We don't know if we're going to go to Elbaf. We don't know if we're going to be going to the world government and see where things go from there. We don't know if we're going to get a reaction out of the Gorosei and the Navy and Im-sama. We just don't know. They may have to be chipped out of pumice by one of their crews. We'd have to see. There's just... Now we can only think about where we're going to go after Wano, because we don't need to think about any more loose ends anymore. We don't need to think about loose ends anymore, because they've all been tied up. So now we just need to go through the aftermath of Wano and then see where we go from here. But I'm just hopeful for where the story of One Piece is going to go, because we're getting a chapter next week. So now we get to see what happens as things start to officially die down. But that's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. I just got summoned so I can go eat lunch before my food gets cold, so I'm not going to keep this going any longer than I already have. What did I think about all these chapters? They were all great. We saw the final ending of the fight between Luffy and Kaido. We saw the final blow dealt to Kaido. We saw the full defeat of Kaido, the strongest creature in the world, by an upstart Luffy. And now we're going to be ushering in to see where the country of Wano will go as the new shogun of Wano is introduced. So we're just going to have to see where the next chapter of One Piece is going to bring us. Sorry if I'm cutting this off short, but my food is downstairs, so I want to go ahead and get that. But overall, I am looking forward to seeing how things start to slow down for Wano because the fighting is over. The fighting is over. Now all that is left is just to chill and relax before the next arc starts. That's it. We are in the intermission. We are about to enter into the intermission resting period of Wano before we transition into the brand new arc. How long have we been in Wano? 2 years? We've been in Wano for 2 years. The new bounties might be announced next chapter. When Morgans. You're welcome, Aristox. When Morgans finds out this news, he's going to have a field day. But I'm excited to see how the world reacts to the once thought invincible Kaido being defeated along with Big Mom at the same time. So we're just going to have to see. But that's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about to go eat my food and then relax for the rest of the day and check out this Sonic teaser. So, hope you all enjoyed. All I can really say at the end of the day is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then like, subscribe, and maybe even consider becoming a member because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples. Time to go eat before they keep calling me for it.